We welcome you in to the Small Ball Podcast. It is Monday, June 12th, and Reggie Jackson is an NBA champion.
Reggie. Let's go, Nuggets.
The Denver Nuggets, after 2 months of NBA playoffs, are NBA champs. They did it. They climbed the hill.
Scott, what cloud are you on right now?
There's cloud 9, and I am on the 10th cloud. I've just been scrolling Twitter the last 20 minutes after the game has ended.
We're fresh off watching the game.
We're fresh off. We watched the entire game together, which is rare for me. And that's important to know. I usually watch the game alone. I text in the group chat. Christian was like, we're having people over. I'm like, I'm going to be in my room. Don't even bother. But I stayed out the entire game.
So proud of you.
And I fought just as hard as the Nuggets fought to win this game 5, where they shot the ball. It would be more effective if the small ball crew was taking 3-point shots versus whatever Denver did tonight. And they were able to still get it done and become NBA champions for the first time in franchise history.
It was not a sexy game. It was not smooth. Shots were not being made, but it was a battle. It was a gutsy win.
It was just a good old-fashioned rock fight.
I
mean, we turned that clock back to 2008, and we're watching Pistons and Spurs just hit each other back and forth with just defense like crazy.
I saw somebody comparing it to Big Ten basketball.
Yes.
That's what it felt like.
It felt like a Nebraska versus Wisconsin January game where there's 3 total threes made. The outside temperature's 5 degrees. Or another comparison was Sunday pickup hoops, which great comparison for Christian. Humble brag, you're married now.
I have a ring on my finger.
And on your bachelor party, we went and played basketball that Saturday. The hoops that we played on that Saturday looked double rims, looked very similar to the single rim hoops we saw tonight for the Heat Nuggets.
The Nuggets had 4 3-pointers made in the game.
Yeah, it was
I think there was 4 3-pointers made in our pickup basketball game. And we played to 21.
We played to 21. It was ugly. But Christian made a great point, midway through the fourth, this is what Denver wants. They have a 5-point lead. Jimmy finally started to get it going after. But Butler, who was great throughout the first couple rounds of the playoffs, he was considered maybe the top player in the playoffs. He really went invisible, not in game 4, but games really 3 and 5. And your star player, when that happens, your role players really have to step up. Bam was great in the first half, invisible in the second half. Duncan Robinson was not a factor. Kyle Lowry grifted his way through that game, but he shot the ball well until late in the fourth when they needed a 3. Jimmy couldn't hit. He took a really bad shot, and Kyle Lowry could not make a 3 when they really needed it most.
I feel like Kyle was their best player tonight.
I agree.
37-year-old Kyle Lowry. Jimmy Butler turned it up at the end, and I know Nuggets fans, each of you were sitting at home a little nervous when Jimmy started turning it up a bit. But yeah, it was way too little too late, and the Nuggets, dude, cannot believe it.
I feel like the whole series was like this. It was the Heat were playing well in the first half, and then the Nuggets were kind of there, and then second half came around, and then the Heat just kind of showed that they're not that good compared to the Nuggets. The Nuggets were just genuinely the better team in the series.
That's literally the take right there.
Yeah.
All playoffs long, every series that the Nuggets have faced a team, the take is simply the Nuggets are simply better. They're just better than the teams that they're playing. They've been the best team in the NBA.
Which is crazy because I know we even talked both on and off the show. There were times, especially through March, where Denver went through a rough patch where it was whoa, is this team just going cold? What's happening? They're not playing defense. I watched a video of guys combining clips of Zach Collins going at Nikola Jokic in a March basketball game. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, dude, if this is another year where the Nuggets just can't make a deep run. But as soon as the playoffs started, they win a game by 30 against the Wolves.
Yep.
And Anthony Edwards actually played really well that series after that game. They win 4-1. And then the Suns goes 2-2. That was the closest the Nuggets faced elimination. was a 2-2 series. And do you know how they responded? 2 20-plus point wins.
Yeah.
Game 5 and 6, sweep the Lakers 4-1 against the Miami Heat. The Nuggets turned out to be the best team all season long. They just kind of coasted that last month of March and April.
I will say, think about this roster-wise, roster construction-wise. They don't have a better roster than the Suns. I don't think they don't have a better roster than the Lakers, but they are the better team. So what do you guys, what are some factors that make them the better team? Like, they were far and beyond. Like, I'm not talking like, the game 7s, they beat teams and it was like 30-point games when they were beating them.
Yeah. I think it just starts with Jokic. I mean, as a superstar, even hearing his interviews, he's like, it's my team. It's like he's very team-oriented, and all he wants to see is his teammates' success. And so if that's your superstar leading the way and that's the mentality that he has, that's easy to spread throughout the culture of the team to where everyone just wants to see each other succeed, which is just how you see beautiful team basketball. That's just what the Nuggets have been this year, this playoffs, is they've just been a team. Whereas the Miami Heat, they're relying on Jimmy Butler to come save them. And it's like, you see, I mean, as we saw in this series, like, Jimmy didn't really do much. And then this game, he kind of saves them a little bit, but then he's like, I can't take you guys much farther.
Yeah.
And that's really the difference.
I completely agree. And, that buy-in from every single player, that goes a long way. Michael Porter Jr., he's a 24-year-old. Most 24-year-old players who can normally be a pretty darn good three-point shooter and a good shot maker, they would like to think, hey, I'm better than a number 3 option. Or Aaron Gordon, a top 5 pick, likes to think, I'm better than a number 4 option. But every single guy, 1 through 10, Thomas Bryant forced his way into Denver, really. Forced his way out of LA. Doesn't play, and you see him, embracing the culture. We talk about Heat culture, but there was a culture, especially this season for Denver, in years past, and Jokic, Murray, MPJ, Gordon, but also a lot of credit has to go to Michael Malone. And I have been a huge fan. I've also been a critic. I mentioned before the postseason, hey, the Nuggets have a lot of questions they need to answer this postseason run. Michael Malone answered every single one. In every single game 1, they had a lead of at least 20 points. What does that say? It means they came very prepared in every single series. They didn't waver, and a great factor too, and in this Heat series, the first half was always a battle, but in the second half, you just watched the Nuggets pull away. They were a better team, but also a better coach team at times, which is crazy because Spoelstra, I think we all have in our top 3, top 2. But Malone coached a hell of a series. He trusted guys like Christian Brown to step up in games. Mike Malone deserves a ton of credit.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't realize this, but one, Michael Malone is the son of an NBA coach, but he also has 2 other assistant coaches who are sons of NBA coaches. You got Flip Saunders' kid, and then you also have Rick Adelman's kid. So you have essentially 3 coaches on your team that are sons of NBA coaches. So they've been around the league for years, essentially their whole lives.
They're daddy's boys.
They are daddy's boys.
So to kind of touch point on the preparation that they had, it's like those guys are going to be ones to know how to get all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. They're gonna have you ready, and it just shows this year.
Yeah, go ahead, Trev.
I was just gonna say I love what you said about the culture. Obviously, that word gets thrown around a lot, but they really do have a great culture. And part of it too, like you said, they're rooting for their teammates' success. Jokic is almost the first things he said when he's announced as finals, NBA Finals MVP. Is he starts talking about Murray and how he wanted to do this for Jamal. That's so special. And I think that you could look at the last 3 NBA champions and look and see that kind of mentality in all 3.
Yeah.
The Golden State Warriors, 100% through and through. Clay, Steph, Dre, they are for each other. And then obviously with Milwaukee, what a special run that was. And Giannis playing for his guys. That's super special. Another thing, the last 3 NBA champions, all drafted by their teams. Think about that. Those are draft-built teams. Homegrown, draft-built teams. It's not super teams. I'm loving the era we're in right now of the NBA. We're no longer in the LeBron James super team crap. Like, he tried to do that in LA. It's not working. Thank goodness that got swept by this homegrown Denver team. That is awesome. We're out of that era and we're entering into, I think, just a beautiful draft a team, build it, see what happens.
And with that, now it's on the NBA to market those teams.
Yeah.
Like everyone's talking about how like this final series, the viewership has been down. Well, have you guys seen any marketing for this series? I haven't seen anything, and I'm on basketball Twitter like all the time. Like, they don't care about this finals, and that's because it's poor marketing on the NBA. I work in marketing. I know marketing.
This guy knows marketing.
I know something.
He went to college.
A little something about marketing. And it's just like all they do is try to push LeBron and LA teams or all these like big market teams when there's talent everywhere.
That's a really good point.
Everywhere. It's like, do better at marketing these guys.
Well, and that's the thing. And until Game 4, viewership was actually even with last year's series. You know, they were pulling in really good viewing, and then I think people started to realize, oh, Denver's actually better than Miami. But that falls on the NBA. Jokic highlights are finally starting to circulate, and you're starting to see them get millions of views. And like a good example is Pat McAfee, who's obviously one of the bigger sports heads. He just realized who Jokic is, like, and the player he is. And that's not on McAfee. That's just a good realization of, hey, there's a guy in Denver, Colorado, who right now owns the title of best basketball player in the world. That blows me away to say.
Say that one more time.
Nikola Jokic is the best basketball player in the world. Mouth drop. I mean, and it's not crazy to say, because here's who he went against. He went against Rudy Gobert. He went against DeAndre Ayton, who has his ups and downs.
And KD and Booker.
He made Anthony Davis switch off of him. The talk was Rui Hachimura might be the answer, but he wasn't. He went to town on them. And then Bam Adebayo, and Bam.
This well-known defender.
Yes. Who?
First team all
defense. He destroyed Bam Adebayo. The talk was if Jokic had under 10 assists, that was great. You're making him a scorer. Well, you know what? In games 3 and 4, he was the scorer, he was the passer, and he was the rebounder. He destroyed the Miami Heat.
Scam Adebayo.
The whole scam Adebayo. Wow.
Scam.
The whole point of this game is to put the ball in the hole. So if he's not passing the ball and he's making buckets, you're not winning that.
100%. And in game 2, that was the talk. Well, he had 43, but only 5 assists. If you watch that game, it was similar to game 5. Guys are just missing open shots. It wasn't like Jokic couldn't find anyone open. It was just a brick fest.
Yeah. You know what my favorite thing to do is right now? Just thinking about how many Jokic has more rings than players that I don't like. Jokic has more rings than Chris Paul right now. Oh, that's nice.
That hits.
Yeah. Give me another one.
Joel Embiid.
He has more. He has a ring. Joel doesn't. That feels good to say.
And more MVPs than Joel Embiid.
He does. Yeah.
I like him, but no, Kevin Garnett has a ring.
Kevin Garnett has a ring. Be careful there.
That was close. Careful. I almost jumped the gun.
Drew Gooden.
Do we know if Drew Gooden?
He has more rings than Jimmy Butler.
He does. You don't like Jimmy.
I do like Jimmy.
Okay. Sure.
But there's probably someone on the podcast.
He has more rings than Dame.
Wow.
Whoa.
Dame, what are you going to do?
Trade Dame.
This is for Nuggets fans. More rings than Yusuf Nurkic.
Whoa.
That feels good. That was for Trev.
Ah, that felt so good.
That felt good.
Hey, question. Did Melo play for the Lakers in the bubble? I don't think he did. I don't think Melo has a ring. So with that said, Melo does
not have a ring.
Jokic has more rings than Melo.
Wow. Is Jokic the best number 15 to ever suit up for the Nuggets?
Oh.
You know what else?
Well, is it
true. Yeah.
Kings fans and Nuggets fans can unite for this one. Jokic has more rings than George Karl.
Wow. That does feel good, I think, for all of us.
Anyways, I just wanted to say that.
And this is, if you're listening right now, you've made it to this point, this is just going to be talking about the NBA Finals, because it's our first show back. Christian on his honeymoon. I was working an event. Trevor was out of town working at camp. Andy was in Tennessee, Andy?
Yeah, I went to Nashville. It was sick.
Went to Nashville.
You sound so excited.
You're just like Jokic.
Yeah,
Just
Jokic
won the NBA championship.
Yeah, Jokic was like,
sick.
all right, we can go home now.
Watch me shake my champagne.
Yeah.
We did party a lot too, like the finals.
Yeah. Dude, all of us were gone last week. We'll talk more NBA, bunch of stuff next week. This is just fun.
This is a fun one.
This is a fun one.
Nuggets fans, this episode is for you.
This is for the Nuggets.
And you know what? I want this to be on the record. I want this to be recorded. I've been a big hater to Heat culture. And then I was like, you know what? I give you guys some flowers.
You did.
I'm back. Heat culture sucks.
Dad's home.
Heat culture, fake news.
Yep.
Bam out of bio. Trevor said it. Scam out of bio.
In every game this series, I swear, and this is just me, I'm probably not right, but I think I'm right. In every first half, I'm like, dude, Bam is just eating our a-holes right now. And then every second half, I'm like, this Bam guy is absolute cheeks.
He's a first half player.
He's a first half player. I mean, even in game 5, he had 18 points and 9 boards. I don't know what he finished with. It was probably like 20 points and 12 boards. I mean, it was invisible in the second half.
Bam's a good player. What's so funny is that like a year or two ago, people were literally being like, Bam is top 4. Bam is a top 4 center in the NBA. And I'm like, dude, no, he is not. Stop riding the high.
He is young. He's only, 24, 25?
Yeah,
he's 25 or 26.
So he is going to go into his peak eventually. And on a huge credit to the Miami Heat. I do want to say that. It's their run through the East is impressive. This is a talking point we can talk more next show. But what does it say about the Eastern Conference where all season long we heard about the top 3 teams, the Bucks, the Celtics, and the Sixers being the big dogs. No one's near their level.
And the West was weak.
And the West was weak. The West was wide open. Not very good teams. The top teams in the West, the Kings, the Nuggets, and the Grizzlies weren't very good. And those top 3 teams in the East got their asses kicked. And the Denver Nuggets then beat that Miami Heat team that just ran through the East. Ran through the Bucks that, even on the show, we were like, the Bucks are the best team in the NBA. And they looked clueless late against the Heat. Heat run through the East, and then obviously maybe the West, as is tradition, just is much better than the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
You guys like that?
I love that. The West is better than the East.
I'm sorry, Andy. I know you're a Cavs guy. But
Go Cavs.
But go Cavs. But the West they're going to now have Victor Wembanyama. The West just has more talent overall than the East.
From top to bottom.
From top to bottom.
Yeah.
The West was open because all those teams are so even. Like, here's a crazy talking point. Let's go back to Nuggets. We'll wrap up the show. The Minnesota Timberwolves, I know they lose 4-1. Does it look different if they're in the East?
Yeah.
You like that talking point?
I like that.
I feel like, if they're in the East, they're like Cavs, Knicks, like 4-5.
Yeah,
They're in
I agree.
100%.
Anthony Edwards is amazing.
Yeah.
What a cliffhanger to leave the show on.
Yeah.
It's good.
So let me finish with one last talking point because I think it's important. Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
I think it's important we finish with Jamal Murray because in Aaron Gordon, MPJ, the rest of the guys, they deserve the flowers. But Jamal Murray, this isn't a talk about whether he should be an all-star or what, but just like to see a guy recover from an ACL injury. And he wasn't immaculate in the finals, but he played well enough, and he was immaculate through those first 3 rounds. To see him be a champion after everything that he went through and his recovery, it was special to see just the fans embrace him, his team embrace him, and now Jamal Murray, at the age of 26, is an NBA champ.
Yeah, it's crazy the journey he's been on, and the run that he had in the playoffs is amazing because he was nuclear in the first couple series. And even this series, I think he averaged like 21 points, 10 assists, 38% from 3-point line, and like that's incredible stats. And the fact that he was an amazing number 2, a great compliment to Jokic. Trevor was talking about it earlier. Jokic, Murray, pick and roll, most efficient play in basketball right now. And it's just, that chemistry between those two guys is truly amazing, and you could tell that it stems from their off-court relationship.
Yeah.
Like those guys, like they're like best friends.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
love
It's
each other.
like,
Yeah.
like a dude from Canada and a dude from Serbia just became like random friends just because of the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Let me say something.
Wow, Trev. Okay. Yep.
Now, I try to walk this life as a man of maturity and always growing. And I feel like part of being a mature person and someone who is honorable, part of that is owning up when you're wrong.
Wow.
And last offseason, I had some strong things to say about Jamal Murray. And I would like to take this opportunity to apologize.
Whoa, Trevor.
To Jamal Murray, to the Small Ball Pod.
Wow.
I accept.
Best moment ever.
I accept my responsibility. That was a bad take. Jamal Murray is a very good number 2 option. He shows up in the playoffs. I just wanna offer that and hope you guys in good faith receive.
Oh, we receive it. Yeah.
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah, thank you.
I love hearing that, especially because all season long, after Jamal would do something like kind of good, I'd be like, so you think Jamal is not very good, huh?
Literally.
We gave you such a hard time for that. Jamal
And then
pick.
there would be like, Jamal would go like 4 of 12, and I was like, I can't look at Trevor. I don't want to look at Trevor.
I'd just be smiling.
Yeah, because the regulars,
There's like, I want to say like 2 or 3 times throughout the season where Trevor's like, my take was right. He's just like Terry Rozier. You know, it's like, no way, dude.
I wanted to in that moment where I'm like, I want to apologize to absolutely nobody. I wanted to do that, but no, I can't.
No, I mean, and Jamal, like, he had 10 plus assists in his first 4 playoff or finals games. I mean, he was a distributor. When the shot wasn't falling, he was finding guys.
Yeah.
And that was always a thing for Jamal. It's like, are you a point guard or are you a shooting guard?
Yeah.
And throughout these playoffs, it's weird to call like a Batman Robin because Jamal feels bigger than Robin. Especially in the playoffs. The regular season is the regular season for Jamal.
What's Batman's butler's name?
Oh, this is what JJ Redick talks about.
Oh, really?
Does he really?
JJ Redick goes, he always says everyone needs whatever the butler's name is. Every team
Alfred.
needs an Alfred. He goes, every team needs an Alfred. It's actually a really good point. He says it all the time. What were you going to say about Alfred, though?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Alfred's a bigger role than Robin.
I love Alfred, especially in those.
It's a really good point.
The Batman trilogy, Alfred is
like Robin's not even in those movies.
No.
So it's like
It's a good point.
Alfred is.
Or he's Catwoman.
If we're actually talking this whole analogy real quick, Jamal's
I picture Jamal in a black leather suit now.
Yeah.
I would probably put. I think Jamal is a Robin. I think he fits. I don't think he's bigger than a Robin. I think he's Robin. And there's no shame to that.
I did hear.
That's amazing.
No.
Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
What a duo.
that's amazing.
Robin, Teen Titans. He's like the main guy in Teen Titans.
Never seen it.
I will. And he was in Game 4. He played crucial when Jokic got 5 fouls.
Yeah.
That was a game where if you're a Nuggets fan and really fan of the NBA, it's okay. This is how the Heat have survived. They get in these moments. They're going to force 2-2. Jamal and company weathered the storm until Jokic could come back in. Yep. One final point. Zach Lowe on the DMVR podcast brought up a really good point, just like with how fan voting works and everything. Because your point was, Jamal, will he ever be an all-star? Winning a championship in the run he went on, that alone, even if he's scoring 18 points a game next year,
Oh yeah, he's locked in.
Yeah,
that can lock you into an
We
all-star.
talked about it.
Yeah.
We've said. I think we talked about that on the show about like Jamal's. If they do win, which they have, all these guys they're going to take a boost of
huge
value.
boost.
Each of these guys. Yep. We're going to see Bruce Brown opt out of his contract and probably
He's gonna
sign
get
for 10
paid.
to $15 million per year, which Denver probably won't want to use their mid-level exception on him. Maybe they do. I don't know
how much they can actually afford.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, he was a critical piece.
He was,
And maybe Bruce is like, hey, let's run it back. Maybe
Yeah.
he's just
That would be awesome.
he bought into the culture. He's like, I just want to see my friends succeed, so let's run it back.
Yeah.
if that happens, because I said final piece here. When they traded Bones Highland, they said, Bruce, you are the backup point guard. And, early on, it was like, how is this going to work? It worked to perfection. And the rotation of Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, and Jeff Green in the playoffs as your bench was perfect. And that's another credit to Michael Malone for trusting the guys and trusting a guy like Bruce Brown to lead the point, who no one looked at in the offseason. And the Nuggets got him. So it's just pretty unbelievable.
Yeah. Congrats. Seriously, congrats to Nuggets fans.
Congrats to Scott.
Congrats to you, Scott. This is a big
Feels
dub.
good.
Big dub for
Small
small market
markets.
teams just in general. So celebrate Nuggets fans.
Big celebration.
Any last words for Nuggets
Well,
fans?
I don't know if you guys remember, but at the beginning of the season, we all predicted a team to win the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
There was only one of us who predicted the correct team.
You did.
Yeah, you did.
Good job, Scott.
Thank you.
This is amazing.
It's like a double win for you.
Yeah, literally. Just pride on small ball, and also the Nuggets are champs. It's like the perfect
Put
combo.
money down on it.
I know.
Maybe
I know.
next year when we all make our predictions,
We
let's just
put
like
$10.
Let's do it.
That feels so good. Andy, you got anything? I saw you shaking your head.
No. Go Nugs.
Gosh, I love that. That's a perfect way to end the show. Well, the Denver Nuggets are NBA champions. The Small Ball Podcast is back. We are happy. So for Andy, our producer Andy, Trevor, Christian, Scott Ayers, we say so long for now. Denver Nuggets are NBA champions, and we will see you next week.
I think we can get Baby Gronk on.